This is Manu and Kalia, physical therapist and Ayurveda herbalist. I'm answering a question by one of my viewers, and this is also a question that's been asked by a lot of other people. So the question is from, and I hope I don't screw up the name, it's Gyong Hua. The question is about kneecap position, and Gyong Hua mentioned that he's having, as per X-ray, kneecaps are riding higher up, they're positioned higher, then they're not aligned where they're supposed to be, and which is causing some crunching sound, especially from getting up from a squat position or with bending and straightening of the knee. There's some clicking and crunching sound. So it's patella alta, that's the technical name for it, or the medical name for the problem. And both kneecaps are riding higher, or they're aligned higher. So possibly resulting in, so here's the model of your knee, here's the kneecap, and if the kneecap sits too high, and with bending or straightening, the irritation that it causes, the rubbing that it causes could be causing the crunching sound, possibly wearing down of the cartilage or just irritation of that tissue. And the question was, is there a way to improve the mobility in a downward direction? Because it sits too high, is there a way, or it moves too much in the upward direction? Can you improve the mobility and possibly affect the alignment a little bit so it moves better downward direction also? So have to also consider whether these are anatomical differences. So this is just the way the kneecap is, or that individual's kneecap is, just the way it sits. That's the way they come. The second part is, of course, tightness of a lot of these structures. Maybe the quadricep is so tight, the quadricep tendon is so tight. Maybe that's affecting and pulling things more, and pulling things up more, and limiting the downward movement of the kneecap. So we have to also consider that part. So once you consider those things, you have to say, okay, well, what are some of the things that this person could do to improve the mobility of that kneecap? So one thing, of course, would be to work on improving the flexibility or the mobility of the quadricep, the front thigh muscle. Right? So improve the mobility of the quadricep tendon by doing mobility or stretching exercises, and also by doing massage or breaking down thickening or adhesions that might have formed along that tissue. Maybe it's too tight. Maybe there are too many restrictions and it's just not letting that kneecap glide down. And finally, also improving the doing joint mobilization techniques to improve the mobility of that joint. So I've shown some kneecap or patella mobilization techniques in the past. So a simple thing to do would be to just, if this is the kneecap, so let's do this one. So a simple thing to do would be, so if the kneecap sits too high, you want to work at gliding it down, right? So you're going to grasp just above that with your heel of my hand and my fingers, and right on my kneecap, I could just do downward. I'm not compressing the kneecap. I'm gliding, a parallel almost. So I'm just gliding that tissue down to stretch a lot of these structures or mobilize a lot of those structures. Okay, so this is a joint mobilization technique. I can get to the end range, I can hold it, I can oscillate gently and work on improving the mobility of that tissue. If there's a lot of tightness and thickening around here, you could also do cross-friction massage techniques, which I've shown before for quadricep tendon issues or tendinosis type problems. But you can get in there. You can also use a lacrosse ball or a tennis ball and do mobilization of that quadricep tendon, as well as quadricep muscle, to improve the tissue glide also. So, and then of course doing actual stretching or mobility exercises to improve the mobility of the quadricep muscle too. So consider a lot of these things, and they can be done to improve the mobility. They're easy enough to do, to figure out if it is, the joint is stiff, and maybe the muscle is tight and the tendon is tightened up. If you improve that mobility and the kneecap starts to glide better in a downward direction, see if that does affect the crunching sound, or you have less discomfort or stiffness with squatting to standing up, or for that matter, when you're bending and straightening that knee, you have less of those issues. Easy enough thing to do to test and see whether when you do these things, it improves the mobility of that tissue, you have less crunching, clicking sounds, and for that matter, you have less stiffness or discomfort. I hope that answers your question, and I hope this helps a lot of other people who have similar questions about kneecap alignment also, especially in a patella alta upwards position. Please share the video if you think this can help someone else, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.